stop scrolling for a second, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change the way you think about attraction, relationships, and how women perceive men. And I promise you, you've never heard it explained like this before. Most men are doing it all wrong, trying to impress, trying to chase, trying to show off, completely missing the subtle things that actually make a younger woman feel drawn to you effortlessly. What I'm going to share today isn't about money, cars, or flashy gestures. It isn't about gimmicks or tricks. It's about the hidden psychological truths, the invisible energy, and the subtle behaviors that make you magnetic without even trying. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why presence matters more than words, why emotional maturity creates an almost unconscious pull, and why the way you listen, engage, and even play can make a woman feel something she's never felt before. You're going to see that attraction isn't about trying harder. It's about being smarter, more aware, and more deliberate in the way you carry yourself. And the best part, these are things that most men never think about, which means once you apply them, you will instantly stand out. So if you've ever wondered why some men seem to attract attention effortlessly while others struggle, if you've ever felt invisible even when you try your best, this is the video that will wake you up. Watch closely, because what you learn here will not just change the way women see you, it will change the way you see yourself. Stick with me until the very end, because every second of this insight builds on the last, and the truth I'm about to share will shock you, empower you, and give you the kind of confidence that makes attraction almost automatic. Listen carefully, because this is the part that most people completely miss. Attraction isn't about what you say, it isn't about how loud you are, and it certainly isn't about trying to impress someone with the life you think they want. It's about something far more profound, something almost invisible yet overwhelmingly powerful: your presence. Presence is that subtle energy that makes a room notice you even before you speak. Presence is the invisible force that pulls attention toward you without you having to chase it. And make no mistake, this is the one thing that separates men who women are naturally drawn to from those who spend their lives being ignored. Now, many men confuse confidence with arrogance. They think that if they talk loud, dominate conversations, or display flashy possessions, they are projecting strength. The truth is the opposite. True confidence is quiet. True confidence is calm. It's in the way you hold yourself, in the rhythm of your movements, in the pauses between your words. When a man pauses before speaking, when he chooses each word carefully, it's not hesitation, it's control. It's a signal that he is deliberate, that he understands the power of thought, and that he is not desperate to fill silence with noise. That pause, that small moment of intention, creates tension in the mind of a younger woman, a tension that pulls her in before she even realizes why. Think about this: when you enter a room, do people notice your arrival because of the noise you make, or because of the energy you radiate? The energy you carry is a reflection of your internal state. If you are calm, composed, and comfortable in your own skin, women feel it immediately. They sense that you are grounded. They sense that you are not looking for approval. And here's the shocking part: they are naturally drawn to that. It triggers a deep, almost primal response in the mind. You don't need to perform, you don't need to impress. You simply need to exist fully in the moment with confidence. Presence is not something you can fake. It cannot be bought or learned from a book. It comes from a deep understanding of yourself, from a life lived with intention. When a man knows who he is, when he understands his own values, strengths, and boundaries, that understanding shows in the way he carries himself. It's visible in posture, in eye contact, in the subtle gestures that others barely notice, but that women feel instinctively. It's the difference between a man who walks into a room and a man who owns the room. And when a younger woman senses that ownership, she feels a magnetic pull that no words or actions can replicate. Confidence and presence also live in the ability to observe without needing to control. Most men think attraction comes from impressing a woman with actions, with constant attention, with proving their worth. The reality is completely different. A man who is truly confident doesn't need to chase. He observes, he engages selectively, he lets his energy do the talking. There is a philosophical depth here that most men miss. The idea that true power is not about accumulation, but about mastery of self. A woman will feel this mastery even if she cannot put it into words. It resonates on a psychological level that goes beyond conscious thought. She doesn't just notice him, she feels him. Let's break down what this looks like in practice, because subtlety is everything here. It starts with posture. The way you stand, the way you move, even the way you sit communicates strength. Straight back, relaxed shoulders, slow, deliberate movements. These are not just physical actions, they are signals of internal confidence. Next, eye contact. This is critical. When you look at someone directly without overdoing it, without staring aggressively, you communicate presence. You show that you are fully engaged, that you are focused, that you are not afraid. And here's the crucial element. It's not about trying to read her mind or impress her. It's about connecting with her at a level she cannot explain. That connection creates an unconscious attraction that is far more powerful than words. Another key aspect is voice and tone. Men often underestimate how much power lies in the way they speak. A calm, measured, slightly lower tone conveys authority without arrogance. It communicates composure, thoughtfulness, and control. The rhythm of speech matters as much as the content. When a man speaks slowly, deliberately, and with intention, it signals that he is not hurried, that he is not desperate, that he values the space between words. Women pick up on this on a subconscious level. They feel drawn to the calm certainty of a man who does not need to prove anything, but simply exists confidently. And here's something you rarely hear. Presence is also about energy management. Confidence is not just about how you act externally. It's about how you regulate yourself internally. The way you react to situations, the way you handle challenges, the way you carry calm through chaos. This is what women are actually responding to. They are not consciously analyzing your moves. They are feeling your energy. A man who can maintain composure under pressure signals stability, safety, and power. And these signals, when consistent, become irresistible. Let's also touch on a subtle but shocking truth. Attraction is amplified by scarcity, not in the sense of playing games or being manipulative, but in the sense of value. When a man is fully present, confident, and self-contained, he does not overextend his attention. He does not flood a woman with constant communication or neediness. Instead, he engages fully in the moments that matter. This scarcity of energy creates focus, curiosity, and desire. She notices him more because he is not always available. He is valuable. And this is the art of subtle confidence, knowing when to speak, when to act, and when to remain quietly observed. Now, think about all of this from a psychological perspective. Human attraction is largely subconscious. Women are wired to sense security, stability, and calm authority. They respond to signals that indicate a man is grounded, capable, and comfortable in his own skin. These signals are not learned overnight. They are cultivated over time through self-awareness, life experience, and deliberate practice. But once mastered, they create an influence that feels almost magnetic. You do not have to chase, manipulate, or perform. Your very presence communicates everything. And this is why so many men fail. They chase visibility over presence. They chase attention over authenticity. They try to impress rather than embody confidence. When you understand that presence and subtle confidence are more attractive than any external display, the game changes completely. You start to operate from a place of strength rather than insecurity. You start to pull people toward you effortlessly because the energy you radiate is real. So how do you start mastering this? Begin with awareness. Notice your posture, your tone, your movements. Slow down your speech, pause intentionally, and observe your surroundings. Learn to sit with silence and let moments breathe. Practice holding space for yourself without needing validation. Over time, this internal mastery translates to external presence. And when you combine this with emotional maturity, listening, and subtle playfulness, the kind of holistic approach we've discussed in the other key points, you become irresistible in ways most men can never understand. Here is the takeaway: the truth that will transform the way you approach attraction. Presence is power, and subtle confidence is magnetic. They are not built through performance or external approval. They are cultivated through mastery of self, deliberate intention, and the willingness to exist fully in every moment. When you understand and embrace this, you will realize that you do not need to chase anyone or anything. The energy you carry, the calm authority you project, and the way you inhabit your own life will draw people in naturally. So I challenge you to act on this today. Stand taller, speak with intention, observe without rushing, and cultivate the internal calm that communicates unshakable confidence. Presence is the silent language of attraction, and once you speak it fluently, the world, and the women in it, will notice. Remember, this confidence is not loud and power is not forced. The moment you embody subtle presence, the moment you radiate calm certainty, you stop seeking attention and attention finds you. This is the simplest, most overlooked truth about attraction, and it is one that will change everything if you let it. Now, let's dive into something that most people completely overlook when thinking about attraction: emotional maturity. Many men confuse age with experience or confidence with dominance. They assume that simply being older automatically gives them an edge. But here's the truth, and it's a truth that will shock most of you women. Especially younger women are drawn to emotional maturity far more than they are drawn to age. Emotional maturity is the invisible framework that underpins confidence. It's the quiet strength that signals stability, wisdom, and self-possession. It's what makes a man magnetic, not flashy displays or loud gestures. Emotional maturity begins with understanding yourself. Most men never stop to ask, who am I? What do I want? What do I stand for? They rush through life reacting to situations, chasing external validation, and seeking approval from others. But a mature man doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He knows his worth without needing applause, and he understands his values without needing to broadcast them. That internal clarity creates an aura of reliability that younger women notice instantly. They sense that they can engage with him on a deeper level because he isn't constantly seeking reassurance. Think about what this really means in day-to-day interactions. When a younger woman talks about her dreams, her frustrations, or even her insecurities, a mature man listens without judgment. He doesn't interrupt, he doesn't try to solve every problem, and he certainly doesn't impose his ego into the conversation. Instead, he provides a calm, grounded presence that allows her to feel truly seen. She doesn't just hear him, she feels him. And this is why emotional maturity is so attractive. It communicates safety. It communicates that he can handle life's ups and downs without losing himself. It communicates that he is a man she can trust, not only with her attention, but with her heart. Emotional maturity is also expressed through how a man handles his own emotions. The immature man reacts impulsively. He becomes angry, defensive, or frustrated when things don't go his way. He takes life personally, and he drags others into his emotional turbulence. But a mature man understands the power of regulation. He experiences anger, disappointment, and stress, but he doesn't let them dictate his actions. He can pause, reflect, and choose his response intentionally. This level of self-control is rare, and it's magnetic. Women are instinctively drawn to men who can navigate life's storms with calm composure because it signals reliability, stability, and strength. Another subtle yet powerful aspect of emotional maturity is patience. Most men want instant results, instant validation, and instant gratification. They rush relationships, they force interactions, and they try to manufacture attraction. But a mature man knows the value of timing. He understands that attraction is not a transaction, it is a process, a rhythm, a dance. He allows connections to develop naturally. He doesn't push or pressure because he trusts in his own worth and in the process itself. This patience is intoxicating to younger women because it demonstrates confidence without arrogance and presence without desperation. It shows that he is comfortable in his own life and therefore comfortable sharing it with someone else. Emotional maturity also means taking responsibility for your actions. Too many men blame circumstances, other people, or past failures for their current situation. A mature man does not externalize blame. He owns his successes, his mistakes, and his growth. This ownership is incredibly attractive because it signals integrity. Women are drawn to men who stand by their word, who can admit mistakes, and who act in alignment with their values. Integrity is not flashy, but it creates a magnetic pull that superficial traits cannot replicate. It's a quiet, deep, enduring kind of attraction that builds trust on an unconscious level. Let's also talk about security, which is deeply intertwined with emotional maturity. Security is not the same as wealth or status. It is internal, psychological, and far more powerful than any external display. A secure man does not need to compete for attention. He does not need to prove himself. He does not feel threatened by the confidence or attractiveness of others. He approaches relationships from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. And when a younger woman senses this, it activates a deep, almost primal attraction. Security communicates stability, reliability, and freedom. It signals that he is capable of providing not just materially, but emotionally. The shocking truth is that most men overlook these simple, invisible qualities because they are focused on the wrong things. They focus on tactics, lines, and gestures, thinking that attraction is a set of tricks. But it's not. It's about cultivating a presence of emotional depth. It's about demonstrating that you are a man who can navigate life with calm, integrity, and patience. These are the traits that younger women respond to instinctively. These are the traits that make a man magnetic in ways that money, status, or even looks cannot achieve. And here's a critical point that most people miss entirely: emotional maturity is attractive because it signals a future. When a younger woman interacts with a mature man, she subconsciously assesses not only the present but the future. She imagines stability, partnership, and growth. She feels safe exploring her own emotions because he demonstrates that he can handle complexity without losing his center. She feels that with him, life will be balanced, grounded, and exciting in the right ways. This is why maturity trumps youth, even with younger women. They are drawn not just to the man before them, but to the potential of the life they could experience with him. Another subtle element of maturity is emotional intelligence, the ability to perceive, understand, and respond appropriately to emotions, both your own and those of others. Emotional intelligence allows a man to navigate complex social interactions without resorting to manipulation, aggression, or ego-driven tactics. It allows him to connect on a deeper level, creating resonance that goes beyond words. Women sense this resonance immediately. They sense when a man understands the world and himself, and they are drawn to it because it aligns with a deep desire for connection, trust, and safety. Maturity is also reflected in how a man treats those around him, not just the woman he is interested in. How he speaks to strangers, family, friends, and colleagues communicates far more than what he says directly to her. If he demonstrates respect, kindness, and consideration consistently, it signals character, and character is magnetic. Women unconsciously evaluate a man's treatment of the world as a reflection of how he might treat them. Emotional maturity, then, is not just an internal quality. It is expressed outwardly in subtle, observable ways, shaping perception and attraction at every level. Now, take a moment to reflect on this. Emotional maturity and security are not superficial traits. They cannot be faked convincingly. They are cultivated through introspection, experience, self-discipline, and a willingness to grow. They require you to confront your fears, insecurities, and impulses, but the payoff is monumental. When a man masters his internal world, he becomes magnetic externally. Younger women are drawn to this energy because it communicates stability, depth, and power, the kind of power that commands respect without demanding it. So here's the takeaway: focus on developing emotional maturity and security. Focus on being a man who understands himself, who regulates his emotions, who acts with integrity, and who projects calm authority. Focus on patience, observation, and the quiet, invisible ways that your energy communicates value. Because when you do, you will notice the difference immediately, not just in how women respond to you, but in how you carry yourself, how you experience life, and how others perceive you. And here is the final truth I want you to hold on to. Women are not drawn to what is loud or flashy. They are drawn to what is grounded, composed, and real. Emotional maturity is the ultimate attractor, and security is the ultimate amplifier. Cultivate these qualities relentlessly, and you will find that attraction flows naturally, effortlessly, and deeply. Remember this: the strongest magnet is not the one that grabs attention. It is the one that radiates stability, confidence, and depth. Be that magnet. Master your emotions, own your life, and everything else will follow. Now, let's move into something that seems deceptively simple, but in reality, most men completely overlook: the power of deep listening and genuine engagement. Attraction is often discussed in terms of appearance, confidence, or even status. But here's the truth that very few people talk about: women, particularly younger women, are drawn more to the way they feel around a man than to what he says or does. And nothing shapes that feeling more profoundly than the ability to truly listen, to be fully present, and to engage on a deeper level. You see, most men think they are listening, but in reality, they are only half present. They nod, they smile, they react superficially, but their minds are elsewhere, calculating, rehearsing, or waiting for their turn to speak. A woman can sense this immediately, even if she cannot articulate it. She can feel the absence of attention, and once she senses it, attraction dwindles, no matter how confident or attractive the man may appear on the surface. True listening, however, goes beyond hearing words. It's about connecting with the emotions, the energy, and the intentions behind those words. It's about making her feel that she is truly understood, fully seen, and completely valued in that moment. Deep listening begins with presence, but it requires more than just showing up. It requires intentionality. When a woman speaks, a man who engages deeply does not just wait to respond, he absorbs. He observes not only what is said, but how it is said, the tone, the pauses, the gestures, the subtle shifts in emotion. He notices what excites her, what worries her, what she values most. And this observation is not passive, it is active. It is a conscious investment of attention. And here is the striking part: the act of being truly heard creates an almost magnetic connection. She begins to associate safety, curiosity, and excitement with the presence of that man because she senses he is not just listening, he is understanding. Now, this is where many men fail. They think engagement is about giving advice, solving problems, or impressing with their knowledge. But here's the shocking truth: women don't need advice or solutions in every conversation. They need acknowledgement. They need to feel that their thoughts, emotions, and experiences are valid and respected. When a man interrupts, corrects, or redirects, even with the best intentions, he breaks the subtle connection that is forming. But when he listens, reflects, and occasionally mirrors what she expresses, he signals empathy and understanding. This subtle act, seemingly small, is profoundly attractive. Another layer of deep listening is curiosity. Genuine curiosity is irresistible. Most men are curious only about what benefits them, what they can gain, or how they can impress. A mature, attractive man, however, is curious about her world, not to manipulate it, but to understand it. He asks questions that go beyond the surface. What excites you about this? How did that make you feel? What do you hope to experience next? Questions like these are not about interrogation. They are about creating a bridge into her inner world, and when done correctly, this bridge is magnetic. It creates a subtle intimacy, a connection that goes beyond physical attraction and plants the seeds for deeper emotional resonance. Listening also involves reflection, not just in conversation but in action. A man demonstrates that he has truly heard her by remembering details, by following up on what matters to her, and by responding thoughtfully rather than reflexively. This consistency signals attentiveness and care. It tells her that she is not just a momentary distraction or a fleeting presence. She is acknowledged, valued, and remembered. And when a younger woman experiences this consistently, it creates a bond that is both rare and compelling. She begins to unconsciously associate this sense of being truly known with comfort, excitement, and trust, all of which amplify attraction naturally. Equally important is the ability to balance listening with measured sharing. Engagement is not a one-way street, it is a dance. While listening is critical, sharing selectively and meaningfully demonstrates confidence and vulnerability simultaneously. A man who is willing to open up, reveal his thoughts, experiences, and emotions with honesty, while still maintaining boundaries, signals depth. It tells her that he is self-aware, emotionally intelligent, and capable of navigating complex conversations without fear. This combination of deep listening and thoughtful sharing creates a rhythm that is psychologically intoxicating. She feels seen, she feels understood, and she feels drawn to him in ways that are both conscious and unconscious. Let's also address the subtle power of non-verbal communication in deep engagement. Listening is not only about words, it's about body language, eye contact, micro-expressions, and even the energy you radiate. When a man is fully present, his body communicates attentiveness. He leans slightly, nods subtly, maintains consistent eye contact, and mirrors her energy without overdoing it. These small, subconscious cues signal empathy, understanding, and alignment. Women pick up on these signals instantly. They do not think about them consciously, but they feel them deeply. And feeling is the foundation of attraction. Now, here's a deeper philosophical point. Engagement at this level creates what I call emotional resonance. Most interactions are transactional. They exchange information, ideas, or pleasantries. But emotional resonance is different. It is the invisible, almost imperceptible connection that forms when someone feels fully understood and acknowledged. This resonance bypasses superficial evaluation and goes straight to the subconscious mind. Women respond to this resonance because it feels rare, powerful, and validating. It creates a pull that is stronger than any external display of status, looks, or confidence alone. This brings us to the psychological edge of deep listening. Women are attracted to men who make them feel alive and emotionally stimulated. When a man listens deeply, he activates her thoughts, feelings, and reflections. He creates a space where she can explore her own ideas, passions, and emotions safely. This is profoundly attractive because it stimulates both intellectual and emotional engagement. She begins to associate excitement, curiosity, and connection with him. She feels drawn to him not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. This is the kind of attraction that is sustainable, magnetic, and deeply rooted. And here's a shocking reality that most men never realize. Deep listening is a skill that pays exponential dividends, but it is rare. Most men never truly learn it because they are conditioned to speak more than they listen, to assert more than they empathize, to perform rather than engage. When a man masters deep listening, he immediately stands out in a world of superficial interactions. Women notice the difference, they feel it. And that feeling becomes the foundation for attraction that is far more powerful than charm, humor, or manipulation alone. So, how do you cultivate this skill? Start by being intentional. When a woman speaks, silence your internal monologue and focus entirely on her. Observe not only her words, but her tone, her expressions, her energy. Reflect her emotions back subtly. Ask questions that invite depth rather than yes-no responses. And when appropriate, share your own insights with honesty, but do so selectively. Remember, this is not about showing off knowledge. It is about creating connection, resonance, and understanding. Practice this consistently, and you will notice the change immediately. Finally, understand the long-term impact of deep listening and engagement. It is not a tactic or a trick. It is a way of being. A man who engages in this way does not just attract women, he cultivates relationships of depth, respect, and mutual admiration. Women feel safe, valued, and intrigued around him. He becomes someone who is remembered, respected, and sought after, not because of superficial qualities, but because of the rare and powerful ability to connect, understand, and resonate. So here is the takeaway. Mastery of deep listening and genuine engagement is one of the most potent tools for attraction that a man can develop. It signals intelligence, empathy, confidence, and presence all at once. It bypasses superficial measures of appeal and touches something far deeper in a woman's psyche. When you combine this skill with presence, subtle confidence, and emotional maturity, the points we've already discussed, you create a man who is magnetic on multiple levels simultaneously. And here is the closing truth I want you to carry with you. Women are drawn not to noise or performance, but to authenticity, attention, and understanding. When you listen deeply, engage meaningfully, and create emotional resonance, you stop chasing attraction, and attraction begins to chase you. Remember this: true listening is not passive. It is deliberate, conscious, and transformative. Master it, and the world will notice. Master it, and the women you desire will feel it, before a single word is even spoken. Be present, be engaged, be aware, and watch as your influence, connection, and attraction become unstoppable. Now, let's explore a point that most men completely overlook when thinking about attraction, yet it is one of the most powerful levers a man can use: the combination of playfulness, boundaries, and patterned behavior. These are not superficial tactics or manipulative tricks. They are subtle, psychological, and deeply magnetic qualities that create an irresistible pull. And here's the truth that will shock you: women, especially younger women, are not just drawn to what you do, they are drawn to the patterns of behavior that make them feel alive, intrigued, and emotionally engaged. Let's start with playfulness. Many men assume that being serious, dominant, or overly controlled is the key to attraction. But here's the nuance: true playfulness is not childish or unserious. It is a sophisticated energy that balances security with unpredictability. It is the ability to joke, tease, and create lightness without losing composure or crossing boundaries. A playful man signals that he is confident enough to not take life too seriously, that he is secure in himself, and that he can navigate social dynamics with ease. And this, remarkably, is highly attractive to women because it stimulates excitement and curiosity. She doesn't know what to expect next, and that uncertainty creates a subtle psychological pull, one that is far more engaging than mere routine or predictability. Playfulness also communicates intelligence. When a man teases or jokes in a way that is clever and thoughtful, it signals creativity and wit. Women are subconsciously drawn to intelligence and quick thinking because these traits suggest adaptability, resourcefulness, and confidence. But the key is subtlety. Overdoing humor, being sarcastic aggressively, or trying too hard to impress can backfire. The most magnetic men are those who can create a playful atmosphere without needing to dominate it, who can make a woman laugh while simultaneously making her feel safe, intrigued, and respected. Next, let's discuss boundaries. This is perhaps one of the most overlooked yet powerful elements of attraction. Boundaries are not about rigid rules or emotional distance. They are about knowing your limits, understanding your values, and communicating them clearly without apology. A man who maintains boundaries demonstrates self-respect, discipline, and control over his life. He signals that he is not desperate, that he is not willing to compromise his principles for temporary approval, and that he has a life of his own. This is shocking to many younger women because they are not used to encountering men who operate from such a place of internal authority. Boundaries create mystery, respect, and tension, three elements that, when combined, make attraction feel effortless and natural. Boundaries also amplify the power of presence and emotional maturity that we discussed earlier. When a man enforces boundaries calmly and consistently, it signals stability and reliability. He is not reactive, manipulative, or easily swayed. Instead, he operates from a place of internal clarity. Women feel drawn to this energy because it communicates that he is a man who can handle life, protect his values, and make deliberate choices. The tension created by this balance between availability and independence heightens attraction, making interactions far more engaging than a man who gives in too easily or seeks validation constantly. Now, let's connect this to pattern behavior. Attraction is deeply psychological, and the human brain responds strongly to consistency in patterns. Women are subconsciously evaluating the reliability, predictability, and emotional tone of a man's actions. When a man demonstrates consistent patterns of behavior through playfulness, boundaries, confidence, and engagement, he creates a psychological rhythm that is both comforting and stimulating. She begins to recognize not just the individual actions, but the underlying structure that defines how he operates in the world. This predictability, paradoxically, creates excitement because it signals competence, integrity, and self-mastery. Patterned behavior also allows a man to communicate value without needing to verbalize it. When a woman consistently experiences a man responding thoughtfully, maintaining composure, and engaging playfully while respecting boundaries, she internalizes these behaviors as signals of worth. She doesn't consciously analyze each action, but she feels them, and that feeling builds attraction on a subconscious level. This is where the magic happens, the kind of attraction that feels effortless and almost unexplainable because it operates below conscious reasoning. Here's a psychological insight that will shock you. Women are wired to respond to subtle cues of stability and unpredictability simultaneously. Stability comes from emotional maturity, boundaries, and consistent behavior. Unpredictability comes from playfulness, curiosity, and selective engagement. When a man balances these forces effectively, he creates what psychologists call positive tension. This tension is a magnetic field. It draws attention, curiosity, and desire naturally. She is engaged, intrigued, and emotionally stimulated without needing to be manipulated or persuaded. It is the silent language of attraction, and it is incredibly powerful. Another layer of playfulness and patterned behavior is control of attention. A man who knows when to engage fully and when to step back communicates high value. He is not constantly available, he does not chase approval, and he does not overinvest emotionally in every interaction. This selective engagement creates focus, desire, and emotional intensity. Women feel that their attention matters and that they are being drawn into a dynamic rather than a static interaction. It is the art of measured presence, where every gesture, every word, and every pause carries weight and significance. The interplay of playfulness, boundaries, and patterned behavior also deepens emotional resonance. When combined with the previous keys we discussed, presence, subtle confidence, emotional maturity, and deep listening, these traits create a multidimensional magnetism. Women feel not only physically drawn, but emotionally, mentally, and psychologically engaged. They sense that this man is deliberate, reliable, and capable of handling complexity while still allowing lightness and fun. This balance is rare, and that rarity is precisely what makes it so irresistible. Now consider the long-term impact of these qualities. Playfulness keeps interactions fresh. engaging, and enjoyable. Boundaries create respect, stability, and psychological tension. Patterned behavior builds trust, predictability, and subconscious attraction. Together, they form a holistic approach that goes beyond surface level tactics. They communicate depth, strength, and mastery, qualities that younger women instinctively seek in a man, even if they cannot articulate why. Here's the practical application. Begin by observing how you currently engage with others. Are your interactions playful or rigid? Are your boundaries respected, or do you compromise too easily? Are your behaviors consistent, or do you react impulsively? Once you understand these patterns, you can start adjusting intentionally. Introduce light humor and playful teasing where appropriate. Maintain boundaries calmly and assertively. Ensure that your actions reflect internal consistency, self-respect, and thoughtfulness. Over time, these behaviors compound, creating a presence and aura that is magnetic, effortless, and deeply attractive. And here's the profound truth that most men miss entirely. Attraction is less about external display and more about internal alignment expressed consistently. Playfulness without boundaries feels immature. Boundaries without engagement feel cold. Patterns without subtle unpredictability feel mechanical. But when you balance these qualities, you create a dynamic that is psychologically irresistible. Women feel alive, curious, and emotionally connected around you. They sense depth, stability, and mystery simultaneously. This is the essence of magnetic attraction. So, here is the takeaway: cultivate playfulness, enforce boundaries, and develop pattern behavior not as a manipulation technique, but as a reflection of your self-mastery, clarity, and energy. Understand that attraction is the natural byproduct of these qualities operating together. When you act consistently with integrity, engage with curiosity, and balance excitement with stability, you create a force that draws women in effortlessly. And here is the closing truth I want you to hold on to. The men who are truly magnetic are not those who chase or perform. They are the men who live deliberately, engage playfully, respect themselves and others, and maintain patterns that signal internal strength. Master these qualities, and attraction becomes not something you pursue, but something that naturally follows you wherever you go. Remember this: playfulness creates excitement, boundaries create respect, and patterns create subconscious magnetism. When these elements are aligned, they form a force that is invisible, undeniable, and irresistible. Become that force and watch as the world, and the women you desire, respond to the energy you carry.